I've got over 20,000 hours in this game, and believe me, I know better than anyone how to keep your valuable loot safe throughout an entire wipe, and that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. This video is entirely dedicated to secret stashes, unusual bunkers, and clever advanced methods for hiding your loot so well it practically becomes invisible. And don't doubt its relevance. It doesn't matter if you're watching this on release day or a year from now. The knowledge and mindset I'm about to give you will stay relevant for a long time. I've previously shown off stash spots in garages and high foundation farms, but you can't use those anymore. Not only are they outdated, but other YouTubers have already started raiding those exact spots in their videos. So all the stash spots I used before, let's be real, those spots are now either trash, cringe, or both trash and cringe at once. I used to be a big fan of storing all my sulfur behind a single glass window in a TC, but now, as you know, that method got patched. You can't put explosive components into TC anymore, so we need to come up with something new, and I already have. In fact, I've got at least 5 absolutely reliable and secure ways to stash your loot during a wipe. So good, even cheaters won't find it. And let's be honest, even if a raider watches this video, they still won't find your stash, because today I'm going to teach you how to mask your riches, even from your own teammates. The most important thing you need to understand is this: storing any valuable resources inside your main base before logging off is strictly forbidden. It doesn't matter what kind of base you have, 5 walls to loot, 10, or even a full HQM fortress. If someone decides they want to raid you, they will raid you, no matter how strong your base is. That's exactly why I publish so many base designs on my channel, so that everyone can find something they genuinely enjoy living in. And truth be told, the raid cost of your base doesn't matter at all, because you can't raid what you don't know exists. As proof of what I'm saying, just take a look at my hobo's journey. I got offline raided by some clan near launch site. Most people, after waking up to see their base wiped during the night, would have rage quit, but not me. I hit the road, formed a stack of pipes, crafted a few salvaged hammers, and eco-raided their entire clan starter base while they were offline. Did their resources, the number of walls to the loot, or the fact that they had a big base save them? Yeah, I think that question answers itself. And just look at how I got raided in my 4x4 farm base. When someone comes to raid you online, at least you have a fighting chance. You get to defend and actually feel something from the game. What happens next is up to fate. If you manage to defend, a great, good job. If not, at least say thank you for the online raid. You had a shot to prove yourself. And if the raiders end up taking some good loot from your base, well, maybe they earned it. As for me, I defended my online raid, which means all my most valuable loot stayed safe, but when it's offline, well, that's a different story. I never leave anything valuable inside the main base when I log off for the night. So if someone wants to waste rockets blowing through every wall hoping for something, be my guest. And just take a look. They fully raided the base overnight, blew up the multi-TC, took out multiple floors, built into the core, and in the end, they got absolutely nothing but trash I deliberately left behind. Honestly, I'm a little proud that someone just flushed their rockets down the drain for me. Where were my real resources? Hidden right next to my main base, in this plain-looking hobo shop selling bows, seeds, eggs, whatever. Yup, that's the trick. Mask your stash as a junk store full of low-tier stuff, and I think we can agree I saved some seriously juicy loot. Now you might say, hidden joint, that kind of stash will only survive for one day. It's way too obvious, someone will definitely raid it. But let's be real, it only seems obvious now because I told you about it. Fast forward, next day, I've already built a new base. My old 4x4 farm base is decaying. And guess what? That hobo shop is still there, untouched, with even more loot inside. Another day passes. The base is nearly gone. Shop stash, still alive. Next day, the 4x4 farm base is completely gone. Stash, still untouched. Even after someone online raided my new base with a giant raid tower, the shop, still standing, still untouched. And to be honest with you, it stood there for another full week. Then I simply wrapped up my wipe. During the time I wasn't uploading videos, I actually managed to play through a full wipe with the YouTuber Eska. Originally, he just invited me to reinforce his base during the wipe and build some kind of hidden stash nearby, something he could use to keep his riches safe. But things didn't exactly go according to plan. While I was scouting for a spot, we were suddenly attacked. I knew right away we were going to be raided soon, so we had to start preparing immediately. While upgrading his base, I had intentionally left some unfinished buffer walls on the ocean side. The idea was that if we ever got hit with a surprise raid, we'd have somewhere to quickly stash everything. And surprisingly, it worked exactly as planned. We hid everything in there: HQM, metal frags, sulfur, endgame weapons, top-tier genetics for plants. The stash was packed to the brim. Of course, we couldn't carry everything in one go, so I just kept refreshing the wall's remove timer and we kept stacking more and more valuable loot inside. A stash inside a regular buffer room. Isn't that kind of brilliant? Once it was full, I logged off to sleep. And guess what I saw the next day? I'm sure by now you've guessed what happened. Our main base got completely raided and griefed, all because we didn't have any multi-TCs set up. But luckily, we had a sleeping bag left in our hidden stash room, so let's respawn there. As you can see, every single valuable resource remained perfectly safe. Now that we need them, all we have to do is place a drop box, pass the resources back through it, and clean up any trace of the stash. Since we didn't have any multi-TCs, we first had to find a way to regain control of the tool cupboard before placing the drop box. But even that wasn't an issue. To avoid ending up in a griefed base situation like this, always build at least some form of multi-TC defense, even if it's just basic. Having a hidden stash room inside a buffer area is an excellent quick way to hide loot. But ideally, your stash should be inside the base, so you don't even need to go outside to use it, just like I had during the wipe with Eska. To set it up properly, don't place walls in every tile of your buffer layer, just place them around the edges. The key is making sure you can seal off your stash room instantly with one wall when needed. And whatever you do, never place a ceiling in the middle of the stash walls. From the outside, it'll look super suspicious. And you might ask, what if I haven't researched the Dropbox yet? Even if you haven't, in a pinch you can quickly farm for the scrap to research it, or just buy it in an outpost for 40 scrap. Originally, I joined YouTuber Eska to help him build a secret stash, not inside the base, but outside of it. Let me show you exactly what I had planned. I wanted to create a completely inconspicuous stash using what looked like a raided, decaying base somewhere remote near the shore. From the outside, it all looks like a typical post-raid ruin. Some walls have collapsed, the second floor entrance is sealed off with a ceiling, like someone griefed it. The tool cupboard is placed behind the shop front, and you'll notice it's not even placed in the corner like usual. It's crooked, as if someone tossed it down hastily after the raid. There are zero signs suggesting anything valuable might be hidden here. The foundations are high, but even if someone checks them with a hammer, every foundation will show 100% stability, logically implying there's no bunker beneath. So, where are the resources hidden? Well, you spawn on a hidden sleeping bag and you're immediately inside your secret underground bunker, where you can store a ton of loot. Seriously, you can fit a surprising number of boxes here. To pass resources out of this stash, just break the twig half wall. The ceiling holding the tool cupboard will collapse, and you can quickly transfer items to your teammate through a shop front. Once you're done, rebuild it. Place the half wall, add a ladder, snap the ceiling back on, upgrade to metal, place the cupboard back at an awkward angle, and respawn elsewhere to cover your tracks. And now, let me show you exactly how to build my version of this hidden stash. First, I recommend finding a dip or depression in the terrain, just like I'm doing here. Then place 2 square foundations as low to the ground as possible. After that, build a basic 2x2 layout with a few triangle extensions. The point of this is to make sure your foundations don't look tall from the outside. The goal is subtlety. Once your foundation layout is ready, you've basically completed the hardest part. Now, I suggest sealing yourself off from the rest of the world immediately. If you're building this secret decayed looking base during a wipe, bring it at least to the point where you can lock it up with a door, just so no random can walk in and expose the entire thing. At this spot, notice how I placed a half wall and then a full wall on top of it. Do the same. Inside you can place boxes however you want. Just don't add any shelves anywhere. Keep it simple. Next, place another half wall, then a metal ceiling on top of that. Afterward, place your tool cupboard at a crooked angle and install a shop front to complete the disguise. Always upgrade the ceiling under your tool cupboard to match the material of the surrounding structure. This is important to make sure the ceiling beneath the TC doesn't look suspicious or out of place. Now for the outside, build a fake drop-down entrance. If you have a see-through door skin, this is the time to use it. It helps sell the illusion. If you don't, just use a regular door and leave it open. But most importantly, do not copy this design exactly as I've built it here. If too many people do that, it stops being hidden. Instead, take the core idea and apply it differently in your own survival. Maybe try making a decayed triangle base or a scuffed 2x1 shell, as long as it blends into the worlds. By the way, I've already designed a 2x1 shack that can hold up to 100,000 sulfur. And here's the best part. There are absolutely no visible storage boxes inside, no small boxes, no large ones, no DLC crates, not even drop boxes. So if a cheater scans your stash, they'll see absolutely nothing. This and much more, including 33 private base, is already available on my Patreon. For just $7.50, you'll get access to this secret design and all the other content I publish there, which includes at least 4 unique stash concepts for saving your loot and over 30 private bases for every playstyle, including bases I've personally built for YouTubers. The link to my Patreon is in the description. Subscribe now, you won't regret it. And the most important rule when you're building any kind of hidden stash, it should never look like a hidden stash. Here's a simple example from Detective Hidden Joint. Some player had walled off a big rock formation near my main base with high external stone walls. I climbed into his compound and started investigating the area. At that moment, I genuinely felt like some kind of criminal investigator. And it wasn't even about what was inside the stash, just some junk. The point is, it was an obvious stash spot, and I found it easily. After I found that junk-filled hidden stash, I immediately suspected this guy might be hiding more than it seemed. Near his base, he had a so-called Chinese bunker, one of those classic external ones. The issue with this kind of bunker is that it's super easy to eco-raid solo using jackhammers. So I grabbed a bit of scrap from my main base, ran over to the nearest water treatment vendor and bought a couple jackhammers for 140 scrap each. For the record, they're much cheaper at these outpost vendors than in towns. To keep the jackhammers repaired, I just placed a repair bench right next to his bunker. In total, the whole eco-raid took me no more than 10 minutes, and once that high foundation broke, a large code-locked box was immediately visible, potentially filled with valuable loot, but once again, it was full of junk. So yeah, I eco-raided a guy who walled off a rock, and it turned out even bums like to hide their loot, even if they barely have any. The moral of the story is this: if you're going to build external bunkers to stash your resources, do it wisely. Don't make those cheap-to-raid bunkers that get eco-raided in 10 minutes. Even if you build 10 of them around your base, a trio can wipe them all out in under 30 minutes. That's why I recommend building bunkers that can't be eco-raided. The construction is super simple. Start by placing one foundation as high as possible, then lower a second foundation down 2 notches. Add a side wall and a square roof directed back toward you. Inside, you'll have room for a tool cupboard and at least 2 large boxes, or 3 DLC barrels if you prefer. To prevent eco-raiding, just place 3 half walls and a ceiling on top, or add 3 triangle roofs pointing inward. Now that's the kind of bunker that strikes fear into raiders and makes them think twice about a profitless raid. However, keep in mind, it's pointless to store too many resources in a single bunker. If the raid cost is justified by the loot inside, don't doubt for a second, they'll blow through every last one. Even if it means hauling in extra explosives during a surprise nighttime run. But think about it, each bunker costs less than 2,000 metal frags. If you're willing, you could set up 30 of these around your main base. Not only will you protect your loot, but you'll also deny raiders an easy spot to set up raid bases near your main base. But let's be honest, even those well-built bunkers that can't be eco-raided are no longer secret stash spots. They're full-fledged extensions of your main base. Anyone planning to raid you will assume there's something inside those external bunkers. And if someone is really determined to wipe you entirely, they'll absolutely do it. Although, let's be realistic. If you see a base with a bunch of hardened external bunkers around it, tell me honestly, would you really still want to raid it? Probably not. Seeing something like that alone is enough to kill the urge to waste your rockets. Which brings me to this. If you're going to make a secret stash for your resources, try to be more creative. For example, you know that Russ recently introduced a new jungle biome, right? Well, have you noticed how deep the rivers across the map have become since that update? Some of them go down as much as 2 stories. And because of this, people are now building tons of bridges just to cross rivers quickly and safely. But what if I told you, you can actually turn a bridge into a stash? I mean, think about it. Who in their right mind would raid a bridge? Especially if it's obvious from the outside that there's nothing inside but a single tool cupboard. A shop front, a TC behind it, maybe an empty doorway on the opposite side coming in from the water. If at this point you're thinking, I have no idea what's going on here, that means my stash is doing its job perfectly. But in reality, this structure hides a whole lot of secrets. First, let's walk into the bridge like a regular player would. At first glance, nothing looks suspicious, right? A couple of single doors, a tool cupboard behind a glass window, and that's it. But if we go back down and open this door, we'll find ourselves inside the bridge, and just 3 garage doors deep, we unlock access to our secret underwater shop. Pretty slick, right? To build something like this, you'll need a river, and you'll need to follow a few very specific steps. Start by placing the first foundation just barely above the waterline. Then extend foundations forward. Once you reach the point where a foundation won't place anymore, jump into the water and lower it 2 times. Once it's in position, attach a side foundation of the same height. This is where your hidden entry point will go. While I have a moment, I just want to say thank you to everyone who watches, likes, and comments on my videos. Your support truly means a lot, and I do read every single comment. Special thanks as well to everyone supporting me on Patreon. Because of you, I can keep making ad-free videos and stay fully focused on what I love doing. doing. Also, I'm excited to let you know that my team and I are launching a new Rust server, Rust Room Monthly. It's a semi-classic monthly wipe server with no blueprint wipes. Currently, the servers are hosted in Europe, so be sure to check your ping before joining. I'll be hopping on the server today to test a few mechanics, and if you want to say hi, I'll be playing under the name Ioka Pistol. And one last thing, shops placed underwater can only go inside doorway frames, so if you want more shops like this, you'll have to build a wider bridge. What I've shown you here covers the essentials. If you want your shop to stay stealthy, make sure to disable its marker on the map. See? I've turned mine off. No one can see it on the map, and yours should be the same. After that, just finish building the rest of the bridge however you want. If you'd like, you can even set up a second stash on the opposite side or just copy this one again. I've already shown you the stash disguised as a junk shop, hiding loot inside buffer layers of your main base, building clever half-decayed shelters, flooding your base perimeter with bunkers, and even using a bridge stash. But the most important lesson you need to understand is this: your stash should never be obvious. Try storing your resources in the most unusual spots you can imagine. For example, use a boathouse that's completely visible from the outside, but keep your loot inside the boats. Or do the same thing with cars. After all, they have trunks you can stash things in. Even a griefed, half-destroyed base can work as a stash. Did you know each furnace can hold up to 2000 sulfur and a single mixing table can store up to 3000 low-grade fuel? And let's be honest, from the outside, no one would suspect that this piece of junk is hiding 6000 fuel and half a box of sulfur. That's exactly what I call an unreadable stash, and you should know all of them so you can mix and match during your runs. Stay unpredictable. That's the real meta. In some Rust videos from various YouTubers, you might often see them hiding their loot inside plain metal or HQM cubes out in the forest. As a temporary solution, this can work just fine. But if you're thinking of using those cubes to store loot for the entire wipe, I strongly advise against it. Why? Because they can hold too many boxes, and that alone makes them a high-value target. Anyone with explosives will blow up suspicious cubes like these first, even if they seem unremarkable at first glance. For over 17 minutes now, I've been showing you how to properly hide your loot throughout the wipe. Everything you've seen in today's video, make sure to adapt it to your own playstyle, keeping just the core concept. Never build exactly the same way I show in the video, because the most important rule is stealth. And if you copy everything one-to-one, unfortunately, it becomes predictable. If you want to see even more powerful, unreadable stash locations for hiding your loot, then check out my Patreon. And in the meantime, I want to give a huge thanks to all my Patreon supporters. It's because of you that my videos stay ad-free and I can keep doing what I love, making Rust guides for you. My next video is coming very soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.